It was the day I saw the prince break down in front of the royal court. Not from sorrow or defeat, but from love. I will never forget how his heart seemed to shatter, and the room fell deathly quiet, with only the sound of his breath to fill the air. It was a moment no one would have expected, especially not from him. I was just a servant, cleaning the marble floors of the palace when the news spread. Prince Kofi, the strong and fearless heir to the throne, had fallen in love with someone beneath his station. His love was for a commoner, a woman from the village, not from a noble house, and it was that which caused such a stir. No one in the kingdom could understand it. I knew the woman well. Her name was Afia, and she was as gentle and kind as a warm breeze on a dry afternoon. I had seen her walking barefoot through the marketplace, selling yams and plantains with a smile that could light up the darkest of days. People loved her, but she had no title, no riches, no connection to the royal family. Her beauty lay in her simplicity. But it was more than her looks that captivated Prince Kofi. It was her spirit, the way she carried herself with grace and dignity, even in the hardest of times. I remember the first time I saw them together. It was in the village square. The prince, dressed in the finest robes and a crown of gold, looked so out of place beside Afia, who wore nothing more than a simple cloth wrapped around her waist. Yet, there was something in their eyes, something deep and unspoken, that made it clear they belonged together. Afia laughed, her eyes sparkling like the stars, and the prince smiled, a rare and genuine smile that softened the sharp edges of his royal demeanor. But that was not the story the court would tell. The elders of the kingdom, wise and old, were not happy. A prince could not marry a commoner. It would shame the royal family, ruin the kingdom's honor. They warned the prince that his duty to his people came first, that love could not outweigh the throne. And so, they ordered the prince to end his relationship with Afia. He was to forget her, as if forgetting someone who had become part of your soul was as easy as erasing a name from a piece of paper. But Kofi could not do it. The day he broke down in front of the court, I was there. I had seen his usual strength, his unyielding courage, but that day, he was like a boy who had lost everything. He begged the council, his voice trembling with emotion. "How can you ask me to forget her?" he cried. "I love her with all my heart. How can you ask me to choose between my love and my duty? My love is my duty." But the elders did not soften. His words fell on deaf ears, and that was when the prince made a choice that would change everything. He stood up, his eyes still wet with unshed tears, and announced to the court, "I will not marry for power. I will marry for love, even if it cost me the throne." And so, the prince left the palace. He went to Afia, and with nothing more than the clothes on his back, he asked for her hand in marriage. Afia, who had always respected the prince but never thought such a love was possible for someone like her, said yes. I watched them leave the palace together. The prince, once a man of wealth and power, now walking hand in hand with a woman of the people. They were free, but the cost was high. Prince Kofi gave up his royal title, his claim to the throne, and all the luxuries that came with it. It was a bold move, a painful one. But they lived happily, creating a life of their own far from the palace. The people of the kingdom, at first confused, eventually came to accept their love. It became a story passed down through generations, how the prince chose love over power, how he gave up everything for a woman who loved him for who he truly was, not for his title. Years later, when I reflect on that time, I understand the truth of it. Love, the kind that is pure and real, is worth more than all the wealth in the world. Prince Kofi and Afia showed me that. And to this day, their story is one I tell often, not because it is perfect, but because it is a reminder of the power of love, even in the face of impossible odds.